Does anyone want to share 2022? Anything that is that you're comfortable sharing? I think what's
Sure, I can share.
okay.
I found the exercise very helpful. I did a circle like that, and I divided it into the 4 sections. So what was interesting for me, Jen, was I wrote all the things that were challenging me in 2020. But then the other interesting thing you wrote said was the positive events and growth. And when I started to write that, I started to something shifted inside in me. I felt better that, you know what, it wasn't all bad. I have made progress in these areas. So when I first started it, it was all kind of not feeling so good. And then when I said progress and growth, I started to underline that for each of the sections, and I realized I have made progress, which is a good thing.
Did anyone else?
Thank you.
That I also found myself doing the same thing. Thank you, Anne, for sharing that.
Thanks.
And it's funny because when I'm leading, sometimes it's more about where my mind is going. But as I was writing about my challenges, I also realized the same thing. And I was like, hey, like if I look back at 2021, these were also challenges that I had, but it has grown. Does anyone else want to share as well?
Yeah, I found the same thing. Like when you mentioned the positive, I started changing but I was amazed at how much I can't stop writing. It's a page and a half already written. I was just like, I can go on. It was just very, I don't know, therapeutic, I guess you could call it. It was just lovely. And lovely. I'm glad you did it.
So simple. And
I mean, I have a gratitude journal. I try to do every night, 3 things I'm thankful for, but sometimes I don't do it, but this is a little different, like it's reviewing the whole year. I just want to share one thing that since COVID started in 2020, right, in the big January, February, first 2 years, I really coped really well with it. Somehow I joined all kinds of groups on Zoom and that. I got busy. But 2020, when it started, like after 2 years, this year was not that good. I guess I was getting either bored with things or things were getting monotonous. But what I missed the most was face-to-face contact, because I live alone and I've lived on my own for over 25 years. But this year, I really felt lonely. So it just hit me so that was interesting. Yeah.
That's interesting. I think even looking at I'm a teacher, for anyone that doesn't know, but we're looking at the patterns with like parents and kids, and it tells us a lot about the events going on with like the patterns. But I think it's that year. I think it's been really challenging for myself, because it's trying to get back to things, but still trying to keep things that I learned during the pandemic, like sitting down and drawing and painting, which I've never done before the pandemic as well, Suman, but now it's I haven't done that myself. And so it's like getting back into the like things getting back to normal, as we say, but also trying to keep the things that were so helpful to us during the pandemic, regardless of what was happening in the pandemic. And
there were lots of positives, but as I told you, for almost a year, I haven't painted. I painted for 2 years with you, and then I just stopped. But I'm so thankful to you to start me off again last month. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I love hearing that. The floor is open. Would anyone else like to share before we talk about the next year?
I just want to add one more comment, that I actually made painted several Christmas cards this year. First time I've done it. And they were appreciated.
Amazing.
I renovated my house.
That's a big project.
Still working on it, but at least I started it.
That's really exciting.
Yeah. That was the extent. I had nothing else to write down. So I spent the whole year almost doing.
That's a lot. I know with friends that renovate, it's almost like ripping up things and like cleansing also. This is random, but my brother, I went into his room and he usually had so many things on the wall, and I was like, hey, like your room looks extra clean, even though it's messy. And he's like, yeah, I'm trying to just declutter. And so he's really clearing things, and
Yeah.
the kind of mindfulness behind renovating and living in that time of messiness during renovations as well. I know I've heard a lot of stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've had a really difficult year. Like Karen knows what I've been going through.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been like had good things. Like I went to England for a month in
Yeah.
May and saw family, and so there was positives, but there were a lot of negatives. My son, his fiance left him, and he's been very sad. So it's trying to support him. It's been very difficult. And then my mother died, and one of my good friends, in 2 days, the two of them died.
Wow.
In the end of October. And it was just like, oh,
Wow.
mind you, my mother, it was like she was kind of a pain. but
Goes
you
with
know,
your
it's
mother.
still there's a lot of guilt with my mother, right? So it's kind of, very raw still.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping,
very, very
Yeah.
fresh still, the time.
yeah. So yeah, I'm hoping next year will be a little bit better. But there's health issues and all kinds of crap. It's like, oh, yeah. So
That's so
yeah,
tough, Shelley.
Well,
yeah.
the positive thing, Shell, is we're still here. We're retired
Yeah,
and we're
that's-
still
that's-
here. We didn't
that's the
retire
thing.
and die like a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's the
Positive.
that's the weird thing too with the whole pandemic thing. Like I mean, like Mickey, I started, and most of you guys, you start doing the drawing and the painting, just to keep yourself and your mind busy, and so like I've continued to do stuff. In fact, I was telling my son, like one of the things I gave him for his Christmas present was a journal, because he needs to write down his feelings and stuff too. So it was very important for him to start doing something like that. It's for healing,
Yeah, absolutely.
So but I've been journaling as well, like every day, because God, if I don't journal, I can't remember what I did yesterday. It's really bad.
Huge.
It's like, oh, what did I do? So yeah, journaling is really good.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Shelley.
Yeah.
It's really hard. I can't imagine. I'm putting myself in your shoes, and like death isn't something that I haven't had to face yet with someone close, but we had a coworker that passed away suddenly, and I think when you're surrounded by that, it obviously gets you think. I think a lot about the day my parents will have to leave, and I try my best to do what I can while I'm with them, as much as they drive me crazy as well. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
The growth that
Yeah.
comes from that.
Yeah, well, with my mother, the thing that got, and then I was writing down that I felt very guilty because my brother came from England, and luckily he was able to see her before she passed. But if the doctors had said something to us like, she's going to go pretty quickly, we would have stayed with her that night. And it was basically that night that she died, and we would have stayed. But and they called me at 1 a.m, and we had to go to her bedside, or they would have taken her to the morgue. So we had to be there at 3:00 a.m. to say goodbye. And she had COVID, like they diagnosed her with COVID.
Wow.
So we were dressed totally, and we couldn't touch her, or,
Wow. Yeah.
it was kind of not the best way to say goodbye to somebody. Yeah. But yeah, and she's in the garage. She got cremated, and she's in the garage.
She's still around.
Yeah, until I take her back to England, she's gonna be stuck in the garage. Yeah.
I'm glad you can even have that joke there. I feel like as hard as it will be, like I haven't been through it myself. I think it's easier said than done, but I wish you, Shelley, like healing and
Yeah.
just time.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, as I said, hopefully next year will be a lot better for everyone.
Mhm.
2023. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to leave the floor open if anyone wants to share. And even as we talk about the guides, like feel free to just keep writing if that's where your brain is taking you, just like drawing. We open up the whiteboard. I'm going to actually share something that I find myself doing every year. Here, if this helps.
Not New
But
Year's resolutions.
No. I actually don't do those.
Me
But
neither. I blow them the first day, so.
I do think it's interesting, the conversation about resolutions, because there's mixed feelings about, like, you know, making goals so that the next year will be better. But I do reflect on the goals in general that I have had and where I'm at. It's more like a checkpoint and seeing like, okay, how far have I gone? Are there things that I want to cleanse out? But I find myself drawing a map of like where I've been at in the past couple of years, more like a big picture. And then it helps me to zoom down because I don't have the best memory. And so even listening on like January, like what were some things that happened there, going month by month.
Mm.
And then kind of seeing it all connected together visually on one page, and then being like, like I actually did that, and acknowledging myself for things that I didn't realize that I had done this year. And so writing down main events that happened in each month and seeing how that has connected and led us to the last month of the year. But as we look into 2023, if you want to do resolutions, please go ahead and do that. Some goals that you have, but after looking at the positives and challenges, you can write down just some things that you want to implement into the year. What are some things that you want to continue? And what are some things that you want to continue not having in your life for the next year, and how 2022 has taught us to lead into the new year? Some things you'd like to keep and some things you'd like to go. So let me write that here. And it seems the meeting time hasn't extended. I thought I had found the loophole. Okay. I'm going to pop into the chat. I just made a new meeting. In case this one ends, I'm gonna move over to this one or we'll go until 9:30 if we can, if you'd like to keep continuing the journaling with me. If not, then the meeting will end in about 6 minutes. So I'm gonna jump over here right after. What are some things that you want to continue?
Jen,
Yes.
Jen, still have a hearing issue. I didn't understand what you just said.
Oh, with the link the link. So the meeting is going to end in about 5 minutes here, but I said that in the chat I've put a link to, if you want to copy that over to Notepad or something. I'm going to jump over to that new meeting link because this is going to end in about 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. What's amazing about challenges, I find, is that you always leave with something, like a lesson or an area of growth in that most of the time. So hopefully you can bring that into the new year. And if not, then you definitely got stronger. And that should be acknowledged as well. Oh, that's a happy song. Again, if you didn't hear, make sure to copy the Zoom link information in the chat if you'd like to join us, because this meeting will end in 2 minutes. If you are leaving, I hope that some of the thoughts today can get you going with journaling. I personally try to journal at least like once a month. I know my husband journals every day, and it's definitely a practice I'm working towards, but it's really amazing what you can do when you just sit and let your thoughts out through words and making them more concrete. I'm gonna grab some water and then we'll jump over to the music link. Okay, I'm gonna stop it here. We might as well jump over. And I will see you in the other Zoom link. Everyone's good?